meeting of the West Rockhill Township Board of Supervisors. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, and thanks for coming out. Is there any public comment on the agenda items? Seeing none, we'll proceed. There will be an executive session following tonight's meeting to discuss real estate and legal matters. The consent agenda for this evening is the August 15th, 2018 minutes, the wind plan review status and escrow release, emergency services report, building zoning and building permit report, public works report, conservation committee, and planning commission. Is there any comments on those items?
I have.
Do I have a motion to approve them?
So moved.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. There are no confirmed appointments, so we'll move into committee reports. Mark and Rick.
That was fast. Good evening. As everyone knows, I hope, on September 30th of this month, we'll have our September Fest. This is year number 8?
23.
23, okay. 23 years we've had September Fest. And this year you'll see some benches that have been fixed up. We have 4 done, and we'll have 2 more going, so they look real nice. The township's been really coming through. We got the wood ready, Jay, and have you seen the 4 that are finished?
I have not.
They look real nice. And there'll be 2 more benches completed. So we are getting ready for September Fest. Not much has changed from the previous years. The same people, same activities, the food's the same, good. We always have a good crowd. So that's for September Fest.
Okay.
We have a person leaving. Denise has given her a letter to leave the Park and Rec. But we're lucky to have a new person stepping in. And would you like her to fill out a form? Well, I thought about that. To say why she wants to be a member of the Park and Rec?
I didn't discuss anything with the fellow board members yet, but the member that was at our Park and Rec meeting that applied, she applied through, neither one of you know her, she's relatively new to the township.
Yeah.
And I felt that, I'm thinking that it might be appropriate for that to happen.
Yeah, I'm thinking too
So that if either Jim or Don has any questions
Yeah,
about
I would agree that
they could call.
we should have documentation.
Yeah.
Everybody
I agree
agrees.
too.
And we kind of missed that point, I mean, we all liked her, she spoke with us in the group, and we all agree that she'd be a perfect person to fill in for the person leaving. So,
Did I see a letter from her though? Or-
I don't recall.
Do you have any-
Didn't she answer, I think, something on the website?
On the website, but it wasn't an official letter.
I'd have to go look.
Okay, I thought I had
There is a
seen something
document.
previously, but,
Yeah, there was something previously that.
okay.
She did fill out the application.
Did she? I didn't see it, I
They,
don't recall.
they voted to move
Approve.
forward and approve her, but, I felt that if you so chose, you would like to, the opportunity to at least talk to her, so.
Yeah, I would like the opportunity. I have no
Yeah.
problem with the fact that,
Okay.
she wants to join and
Yeah,
you guys
yeah.
are in favor of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like the opportunity to.
Yeah, that would be nice
talk to her.
too.
Would that be okay?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, I'll get a hold of her. Maggie Oliver is the person that we're talking about. So I talked about the benches, and, Jay, I did get a hold of the people who at present with our benches who come.
Yeah.
They're willing to sell us the 2 ends only for a good price for the benches. So then we can put our own, wood cedar in,
Yeah.
cut the cost down.
Okay.
So we do have people wanting to put another bench in, so.
Okay.
So we're looking at.
And you did discuss, well, you didn't share with the board yet, but you did discuss and approve a final number yet or not? that you were gonna increase the bench
Well,
price
Not
too?
yet.
Yeah.
You did,
We're
okay,
getting
you're
prices.
working on it.
well, we're working on it, but we're looking at $450 now instead of $350.
Okay.
We're raising the price.
Cover the costs.
Yeah, that would cover all the costs. Would be a new bench with new wood on it. So I'm thinking we'd take one of the existing benches, refurbish it. No, that was one.
Not when you're buying a new bench.
Okay, well,
If
maybe.
someone's buying a new bench, they're buying a new bench.
Yeah, but the new bench though comes with, pressure treated wood, which we don't like.
Right, but you're gonna make it.
We can
So
make it,
you're
we
gonna-
can change that
You're
around.
gonna buy the new ends and you're gonna
Yeah.
build your own.
So, we have a couple options there, to me it looks like. I'm not sure we're on the same page there, Jay, but I'll kind of move on.
Well, from my perspective, if you're buying a new bench, I wouldn't wanna have something that's over here that's refurbished, if I'm paying for a new bench. That's my opinion.
Okay, but we could have a price for a bench that's, refurbished and then a new bench.
That's
We
up to
could,
the- that's
yeah,
up to the
Up to
committee,
the park
right.
and rec, yeah. Okay, otherwise, things are ready for the September Fest. We all have our
Jobs.
jobs assigned, and we have people lined up. We just need the sun to come out and bring the people in. That's what we need. But that's what I have for
You
Park
should
and
find
Rec.
a sunspot.
And you did announce that Denise was leaving after September Fest.
That's what she said she's doing. Yeah, she's the one who's leaving. And then we'll have, Maggie coming in to take her spot.
Okay, thank you.
Should be good. Okay. That's it, thank you.
Any comments?
Nope, I'll make a motion to approve the Park and Rec.
I'll second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Comprehensive plan, Don?
Okay, comprehensive plan, we're moving along very well. We have pretty much the complete draft done. We're redoing some of the draft, and we've now identified 20 or 30 some items of action to take over the coming years, and the responsible people identified for that. We're going to have a summer review on the end of the month, so I would invite you to come and hear what the summer is and get an understanding. The plan's going to be about that thick, and it has a lot of detail, a lot of background, a lot of new information, and new operations that we're going to propose be done in the township. So it's an open meeting, so come in here and comment. That's it.
All right. Any comments, Jay?
Nope.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the plan, or the report.
Second? And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Where are we here? Police report, Chief Blake.
Evening, hi, good morning. Good. How's everybody? This is the September 2018 police report listing the calls for activities for August of 2018. The Pennridge Regional Police Department responded to 449 calls for service. 162 of those calls were in East Rockhill and 287 were in West Rockhill. There were 17 reportable traffic crashes, 5 in East Rockhill and 12 in West Rockhill. The department handled 10 Part 1 crimes and 40 Part 2 crimes, listing 50 crimes. In West Rockhill, the crimes are as follows: burglary, assault, 4 theft cases, 3 fraud cases, 3 criminal mischief cases, 1 possession of heroin, 1 possession of marijuana, 1 possession of 2 cases of possession of controlled substance, 2 DUI cases, 3 public drunk cases, 3 trespass cases, 1 disorderly conduct, 3 harassment, 3 dog law violations, and 1 ordinance violation. And in East Rockhill, burglary, 3 theft cases, 4 criminal mischief cases, 1 DUI, 3 disorderly conduct cases, 2 harassment cases, 3 dog law violations, and 1 ordinance violation. The criminal charges filed in August of 2018, 1 terroristic threats, 1 aggravated assault, 2 simple assault, 1 disorderly conduct, 1 harassment, 2 public drunkenness, 1 identity theft, 1 possession of an instrument of a crime, 2 receiving stolen property, 1 possession of marijuana, 1 possession of heroin, 3 DUI cases, 2 possession of drug paraphernalia, and 1 game law violation. Officers conducted 254 traffic enforcement details, 63 of those details on Old Bethlehem Pike, issuing 3 verbal traffic warnings, 26 citations, and 60 written warnings. And the officers conducted 171 business checks, Our mix-up team was out, the Bucks County Motor Carrier Safety Enforcement Team, and they had 17 inspections with 8 violations and 1 out-of-service violation for a commercial vehicle. And administratively, we attended a presentation at Pennridge High School staff with Dr. Langman about school shooters. That's the report. Are you going to give an update now, or?
I will give it now.
Okay.
So while you're here, that way. I wanted to, we had something in old business for the Finland Road update, all the accidents that have been occurring on Finland Road. And I wanted to give the report now instead of during old business because Chief Blake is here. I'll just run through the report I wrote. The meeting was held on Finland Road on September 11th at 10 a.m. The area of concern, do you have the? You forgot to load it? Okay, it's okay. There's a big S-turn. Judy was going to put the picture up. Okay, there's a big S-turn that starts up at Sterner's Road and comes south down to the Twin Churches, but the area of concern ends at Bean Lane, which is just about halfway down the hill. So the attendees were PennDOT engineer Vince Serboni, is that it? Serboni. The PennDOT safety consultant was also involved. Representative Craig Statz attended, Chief Blake, myself, Greg Lippincott, engineer Steve Bala, and Michael Schremeyer, who watches the accidents from his deck, also attended. The area of concern, as I said, was at Sterner Road heading south to Bean Road, and the summary from the meeting was that the PennDOT plan is to install signage, legends on the road, and guardrails through the length of the area, with the additional signage leading into the area from the north and into the area from the south also. Additionally, after coming on site and seeing how bad it was, they actually, I think, extended the guardrail from Sterner's Road all the way down to almost Bean Road.
Yeah.
And they also agreed to put high friction surface on the really bad turn, which supposedly cuts skidding by 80-85% or something like that. So they're going to do that.
Even when it's icy?
What's that?
Even when
Yeah.
it's icy?
Yeah. They said this, they seem to be, I've talked to other people that have seen this stuff, and they
Did
said,
you bring up the issue of the ditches being clogged up, that
Yes.
the water runs down the road, it makes it icy?
yeah, they
That
have.
was in our initial report too, to
Yeah,
PennDOT.
yeah.
Okay,
And
so-
they've already started doing ditch work there. They initially put up a lot of signs, but we'll talk about those in a minute. So the signing and legend work should be done immediately, and the guardrails will be ordered and installed upon arrival. It's expected that signage, the legends on the road, and the guardrails will be completed before Thanksgiving. That's what he said. And that's within 10 weeks of the date of the meeting. Okay? So we're expecting to really see some improvement there. I know that they had gone out and putting up new signs, and I heard they did a lot of ditch work, that they filled in a lot of the ditches, but they were really deep, so.
Okay.
So I have not been out to look at that yet.
Well, the debris collecting on that will be the north side
Yes.
all the time is what causes the problem, because the water then runs down
Yeah.
across. Since it's downhill, it goes into the southbound side.
Yeah.
And that's where you have all those
Yeah.
freezing
Yeah.
issues where they get slipped.
Excuse me, Jim, do you have the date of the meeting?
September 11th, it was at 10 a.m. I can give you a copy of this.
That's
I think I.
No, I just wanted the date.
Okay. The HFS, the high friction surface, that's going to take longer. They're in negotiations with a company right now in Turkey to get there's only like 2 places in the world that make this product.
Okay.
So they're in negotiations right now, trying to get the product, and they said that'll be sometime next year that they can actually put that surface on.
So it's important to make sure the ditches are cleaned up.
Right, exactly. But with the guardrail up, that's gonna keep everyone, that's just gonna make them slam into the guardrail.
They'll be in the
Going
roadway.
down. They won't hit trees and. But I can tell you that 2 hours after the meeting, that a person came down the road and took out every sign. Except one, and,
Was it a truck?
no,
It was a DUI.
it was a DUI. At
There,
somewhere.
there are underlying causes to these crashes.
Yeah.
Driving too fast
Yeah.
or, intoxicated drivers, but I think PennDOT, when they got there, they could see that there's some things that they could do to maybe help drivers out. But I'd say 95% of all of our crashes there is an underlying vehicle code violation, driving too fast for the conditions of the road. Whether it's a curve with no sign, whether you're driving even the recommended speed and it's too icy and you go off, it's, the underlying violation is driving too fast for conditions, so, that's the bottom line, but there are things that, you know, they saw when they got there that they can do to improve it.
They didn't want to have the meeting there, but because
Greg
forced
pushed
them to
them.
have the meeting there, they said, oh, this is worse than we thought.
Yeah,
So that's when we got the surface, and that's when we got the longer guardrail.
I don't think if they wouldn't have come out to see it, I think it would have been a little bit longer.
It's generally the case, anytime you get any representative
Yeah.
to the site, it's the hardest part is to get them to the site.
And I emailed him, Vince, the next day, saying, hey, thanks for coming out. By the way, a DUI driver just mowed down the rest of the signs there. So they were gonna come out and look at it again, fix those
And,
signs.
and there have been 3 accidents there now since our meeting.
Mhm.
When you mentioned the stuff on the road, that's, like they did up by the campground there, they put sharp curve ahead?
Yes,
Actually,
yes, those are the legends.
Okay.
The legends will actually be painted right on the
Yes,
roadway.
that will help, that will
Yeah.
help tremendously.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if we had a picture up there, we have copies if anybody wants to see them. But you'll see that there's signage all up and down both sides, whether you're going northbound or southbound. There are signs all through that whole area that are going to be put up there.
But this came to light because people got involved.
Yes.
You know, Mr. Schremeyer and,
Mr. Davis?
yeah.
Mr. Davis, yeah.
I mean, we call PennDOT all the time, and, yeah, they'll come out, and they might come out,
Yeah.
but, you know, when we start getting citizen complaints, and, you know, we can say, hey, we have a complaint, you know, and we keep fielding those calls to PennDOT, well, they're gonna take action. So, you know, we know there's crashes there, but you guys live there all the time, you know, we just come up to the crashes, you hear the potential crashes, you know, so.
What? I need a new one.
New pen?
I can also tell you that one of the people that almost had an accident there was Craig Stats.
Still
so-
need a new one.
Tony, yes.
Yes, Tony Bogler, Climber Avenue. Chief, I have a couple questions for you in regards to the Upper Bucks motor carrier, the DOT stop. Who gives Pennridge Police Department the permission to do it in this parking lot?
Township.
I would ask the township to consider a motion for a cease and desist on that, because that parking lot is in terrible shape. There's no need for 80,000-pound trucks in that parking lot out there. If Pennridge wants to do it, they have a beautiful parking lot down the street. They can do it down there. I know this parking lot needs to be paved. We all know that. But from what I understand, we're waiting for permits to connect the 2 parking lots from James Memorial to this parking lot out here. But I think it's wrong to take taxpayers' money to patch pave that parking lot for what Pennridge Police wants to do in this parking lot here. And I would ask the board to consider a motion to stop that. And as a resident, I don't like the DOT stops, and I've talked to Steve about that. And I just, as a taxpayer, when I can't go home and I have to make appointments, just like everybody else in this room, and I can't take Ridge Road home because I'm worried, because I'm in a truck that I'll be tied up over there for an hour and a half. I have a problem with that. But back to the original thing is, I think that parking lot is terrible, and all the board members know that. So, thank you.
I do want to comment on that, Tony, because you actually, that parking lot is on my list here to discuss towards our budget for next year. Okay? It's been identified for numerous years, the condition of it, and I'm going to challenge Greg to tell us how we can afford to pave it. Has nothing to do with the realigning of the 2 parks. It has everything to do with repaving the parking lot that's been
I know,
spider
but-
tracked from here on down through. This has nothing to do with the regional police.
I know,
This-
but they
this
have
has
no
to do-
financial contribution to this parking lot, period. That's my problem. Because it's taxpayer money, and you know what the weight of the trucks do. Look at Ridge Road, and you're bringing triaxles in from the quarry, and you're bringing tractor trailers in.
But the condition of this parking lot was in that condition before this
Yeah,
before these
but
trucks were coming.
now you rip it up, and then we have to patch pave it.
We
That
do.
costs money, it costs us all money.
But remember, we're trying to protect the public. Those DOT inspections are valid. As much as they are an inconvenience, I go through the same thing you go through. However, I'm paid by my company to sit through them.
I'm not.
I realize that.
I'm not.
But
And
I'm still-
To be
I
ticketed
still go
for
through
no
the same
wiper
scrutiny.
fluid, there's a problem with that. And I'm not gonna, this is not the time to dispute that.
Okay.
You've heard my complaint, my point. They have a beautiful parking lot and a beautiful building a mile down the road. Do it in that parking lot. Why do you gotta do it on taxpayer money in this parking lot? That's my problem.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes. Okay, your address?
Yeah, Michael Schromeyer, I'm on Sterner's Road, and I actually live on the hill right above Finland that they were just talking about. And I do want to thank Greg and Jim for getting PennDOT to come out. It's been a lot of years. My wife is usually the first one to reach for 911 when we have an accident.
Yeah, we're like this.
Yeah, I think we should put it on their speed dial. But it's been a real problem, and it's getting worse every year as far as accidents on that road. I don't know why. Maybe people are more distracted as they come down. But I do want to thank you guys for getting this moving and getting PennDOT to actually show up. Because, as you said, I was there, and when PennDOT saw it, I think it was a surprise to them also.
Well,
Thank you.
I think the one thing that surprised me is you had your police car sitting at the top of the hill with all the lights going, and people still sped by. They weren't even doing the speed limit. Or they would slow down to get past the police car and then speed into the turn. And we're standing, there's what, 7 of us, 8 of us standing there, and just they come zipping by us. It's like, I can't believe this.
You guys were pretty brave standing on that curve.
Yeah, I know. Anyhow, we all lived, so, okay. Are there any other questions about Finland Road or anything for the chief?
No, I'll make a motion, we accept the chief's report as presented.
Okay, great. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay, Joint Rec Authority, that would be me. We had a good year. Our last day as the pool was open, I can tell you it was absolutely packed. There were no spots left in the parking lot. It was just filled to the brim with people. Inside the pool, all around the pool, it was really, really a great day. At 6 o'clock we closed and everybody brought their doggies back. We had our doggy dip and I think there was 48 dogs there. 48 dogs, so it was quite a scene. Last year I think we had 6.
And all the dogs got along, right?
They did, they really did, yeah, I was surprised, even Greg's dogs, except that they wouldn't go in the water. But we had a good year, so I just want to say thanks for everyone's support on that. I will also mention that the pool will be 50 years old. The Articles of Incorporation were written 50 years ago as of the end of this year, which means we have to renew the articles after 50 years. So I've sent you both copies of the articles, which it's just a document that gets sent in that says we are a corporation. That's all it is. And then from there, we can go on for other things like nonprofit status and stuff like that. But this is just a document that registers us as, is that correct? That registers us as a corporation.
Yeah, it's close.
Close enough. All right, good. Okay, so that's where we are, and I've given copies to the other 2 supervisors so they can ask questions if they have any, if they have a chance to read it, and we can discuss it again more at our next meeting.
Yep.
Whatever, okay?
Hopefully I'll have it reviewed by then.
Great, yeah, great. Yeah, okay, thank you. I don't really have anything else for tonight. That's it. Do you have anything you want to add, Suzanne? No? All right.
I'd move for approval of it.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor? Aye, thank you. All right, tax collector's report.
Okay, for the month of September so far, I've collected $1,850.69 in annual taxes for 2018 and $37.13 for 18 interim taxes. I've not collected any 17 or 16 interims. I have very few billed right now, so that's all my collections for the year so
Okay.
far.
Great.
Good month.
Any questions?
I have none.
Don?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Engineer report, Steve?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item we have, I have to discuss an A&T Supv project that was completed, their called maintenance or repair shop on the opposite side of Bethlehem Pike.
It's nice.
As you recall, the building's been done for quite some time, but we never accepted it as complete because they can't keep all their trees alive at the same time. So they were trying to do that unsuccessfully.
We had enough rain this year.
We certainly have had enough
Maybe it
rain.
was rolling off the hill.
I think they're having problems on the original plantings that were done
Okay.
last year and through the hard winter. Anyway, you have a request in your packet. Jeff Allen had sent a request for the board to accept the project as complete, allow him to start his 18-month maintenance period, and he's committing to getting the final trees that are dead replaced during his maintenance period.
Okay.
So all other improvements on the site are acceptable, and we've inspected everything on the site.
And you're recommending we,
I'm recommending that we go to maintenance.
okay, any questions?
What's the value of that?
There'll be $33,600.
Is there a time frame?
18 months.
I mean, they think they're gonna get it done, which they should have.
His email said, the end of this month.
Yeah, they hope to do it this fall, but they just didn't want to keep dragging out waiting if it goes into October or November.
But if it's not done, why would we release the money?
Well, we're still holding, we'll still hold $33,000.
Okay.
So he's saying during,
So how much are they getting with this release?
they would get $23,500.
Okay. I'm comfortable with that.
Still up 33.
And we still have 33,000 for a half a dozen trees and shrubs that are being difficult.
Okay. I'm good.
I think it has to be noted that this is not a precedent.
You do this for other people with their trees sometimes. We hold them.
Yeah, when it's down to a few minor items, we've worked with projects before.
All right, can I get a motion to approve the letter?
I'll make the motion.
Second, all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
And that's all I have, unless there's any questions.
Then I'll ask for a motion to approve the engineer's
So
report.
moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Solicitor's report.
I don't have anything to report this evening,
That's
Mr.
easy to
Chairman.
approve it.
Approval for non-reported.
Okay.
Second.
And you'll second. I will ask for all in favor for
Aye.
non-report. Aye. Okay. Township manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First item is the treasurer's report and payment of the bills. The general fund has $634,345.42. Highway aid, $275,271.54. Open space, $1,098,199.04. Apartment, $9,168.50. The equipment fund, $18,170.52. Highway capital, $125.74. Street light, $34,122.16. Reserve funds, the general fund reserve, $323,935.24. Open space, Manderfield, $50,599. Sewage maintenance fund, $169,218.97. The stormwater fund, $6,378.18. And the escrow funds, $344,903.42. You also have a copy of all the funds.
Okay, I move for approval, all subject to audit.
I'll second. All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Okay.
The next item is in the Board of Supervisors packet is the 2019 minimum municipal obligation, the MMO, for the West Rockhill pension plan. The board does not have to take any action, it just needs to come into the minutes that the report was given to the board. Do you have any questions?
So moved.
No, I'd say table, next session.
You don't, all it has to be is in the minutes that it was given to you. There's no action necessary.
Confirm.
All right.
That's all I have.
Okay, can I get a motion for the manager's, approval of manager's report?
I'll make it.
I'll second. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Old business. I mentioned Finland Road. The Pennridge Community Center donation has come up again. Would you like some discussion on that?
I would like to have some discussion on that.
Yep.
Because we have gotten the information back that Don had requested, and it shows variation of who gives what money. From my perspective, I'm having a little bit of an issue with contributing to not only that, but the Holiday House pool as well. When we had to make a deal to borrow money from the township to finish the tot lot over there, which, by the way, we're not finished. We still have one more piece of equipment to purchase. So I've always supported the community center in the past, and I've always supported the Holiday House pool. However, when we can't afford to fund the projects in our own park, I'm struggling with giving to the outside entities, if you understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
what can we do?
Well, I would agree to, Jay, because it's not that we have not given any money. We started off in that center giving them $45,000, which they furnished the whole place with. And we've been giving them money ever since then. And right point that you cited, we struggle to have money available for the Park and Rec organization. And I think we should just continue that. As far as Holiday as a pool, we, for 10 or 12 years, been given $13,000 a year. And I think because they were trouble with it, but we sold public property, they got like $200,000 that's been invested in fixing up that property. As Jim cited, they're now making money. I hope they'll do that again this year. I think we should suspend that until future, to take care of our own township property.
Well, I'd like to go back, if we can, and talk about the tot lot.
Yeah.
We had initially, earlier in the year, agreed to put out money to expand the tot lot. And then we had, along with some of their money, and then it came up that that there was a request to add 2 new pieces of equipment. And that's when we got into the issue of how we're gonna pay for this. And one of the options that came up was to loan them the money. I agreed to it only because I felt that, well, maybe they can go out and do some fundraising and stuff. I'm perfectly happy to do whatever you want to do, if you want to just relieve them of that or whatever, I'm perfectly happy with that.
Well,
Because I just feel, I agree with you, this is it is our park, it is our community, and it's for our people, and
we can never fundraise enough to get the amount of money that was needed.
Right.
Suzanne put that plan together probably 6 years ago, 7 years ago. It was, at that time, it was $25,000 to do the expansion. And even the donation jars and the thing to do with the yard sales and the September Fest, we only collect a few $100s.
yeah.
So you'll never get there to do it.
Right.
And the push has always been to create a master plan, to fill out that park before we move outside of there. And we've tried to do that, but without funding, of course, we don't, Park and Rec relies on funding through development, and we haven't had much development. So, I proposed several years ago to take the money from the Ruth James Trust that was given to the township, and it was put in the general fund. Now, that's gone away, so we don't have that anymore to deal with. But I do believe that in not everything that comes across, but in that case there, we should have helped fund the finishing of the expansion of that top
And in
line. Without
hindsight-
making it a loan.
And in hindsight, I agree with you, I do.
So, the Park and Rec Committee still has to deal with one piece of equipment that will complete that project totally. Am I correct in saying that, Bob?
True.
Okay. I would like that to be done at some point in time. So how we move forward, what we do as far as, do we not fund the community center for a year or two? Do we reduce our funding to the Holiday House pool? I'm open for discussion.
Well, I would like to clear the air on the loan first,
Okay.
and get that out of the way. And then we can talk about the other 2 issues. We are at a point where we break even at the pool. We're not at a point where we're making a whole lot of money. We're breaking even, okay? We're no longer losing money, all right? So I do want to have more discussion on that.
Okay.
But I would like to clear the issue tonight on the tot lot and moving forward with that.
Okay, what are you suggesting?
Do you want me to make a motion? I mean, I would be happy to make a motion, or,
Where are we gonna pull money from?
well, we've already given them the money.
Okay.
I'm talking about the loan we have right now.
Okay.
I would like to relieve that loan, so if you would,
I would love to do that. I don't wanna have.
are you okay with that?
Yeah, you know.
Okay, so why don't we get a motion to relieve the loan and take them off the hook for that? And then we can talk about how we're gonna fund for the last piece of equipment. To me, it's already September. We should probably put that in the budget for 2019.
Yeah,
All right, if we have that in the budget, then there is no issue.
okay.
But we gotta deal with the funds going to Holiday House Pool. And I realize they've gone, apparently gone already, is that right? Understood?
Well, yes, every year you make a budget, and every year you pass a budget, and every year it's been $13,000. And we get a bill from them, and then we pay it. And since it's approved, it's on your bills list, you guys approve it, it's already been paid. So what you would have to do is discuss next year. Do you want to see 13,000, 20,000, 5,000 going to the Holiday House Pool? The board makes that decision in their budgeting process, how much you want to go to the Holiday House Pool. Similarly, if they have a piece of equipment, I need to know the cost. At next month's meeting, you'll get a draft budget for you to review, and then on the November meeting, it's public, and then it's advertised, and then people get to review it from November to December, and you guys approve it.
Greg, we brought it up at the last Park and Rec meeting, and they agreed that by next month, they would have some kind of a number of what, because they have to agree on what the piece is going to be.
Right.
Put in there.
True.
So by next month's meeting, next month's Park and Rec meeting, they should be able to come up with some solution to what it would cost to finalize that project. So that is done.
I'm
So-
sorry, gentlemen, did you finish that motion?
No, we didn't. No,
I'm
we're-
making
we're getting there.
the
Yes.
discussion. I'm gonna make the motion, if you're gonna,
I
I'm
will
gonna make
second
the
it.
motion that we relieve the Park and Rec for the amount of money
So
that
you're
we
making
borrow.
the motion?
Yes, I'm making the motion.
And I will second that motion.
Sorry, I just thought you had moved beyond
To
that.
relieve the Park and Rec from their loan.
Their obligation.
Their obligation as a loan. Township's gonna pay, the township's gonna relieve them from the loan that was done, the loan and the money to do the project.
They've already got the money.
You authorized the money at last month's meeting or 2 months ago to fund the project, but they had to pay it back with the fees that they give for every development, for every house. They would give it back to the general fund. You are now relieving them of paying it back to the general.
Well, and point being is, we're not having much development. Last month, we even canceled our, plan- this month,
This month.
we canceled our planning commission meeting because there's no business.
Correct.
So, I think we shouldn't be charging the Park and Rec alone when we're giving money to these other entities. I agree. So that's why I suggested this, or I should say you brought it up. I'm willing to go along with it, because I don't think the Park and Rec should have to pay a loan back when it's our park. You have a different view?
No, no.
Okay.
Where's the money gonna come in the future when they need it? I mean, we have, what, $6,000? I think that's a number, is that correct?
Right?
And how much is in the budget now?
There's nothing in the budget for a new piece of equipment because they have to give it to me
That'll be for next year.
next year.
Yeah.
So where does that money come from?
We'll have to figure out a way
So look at the budget.
to look at the budget.
Well, I'm gonna ask you then, if you'll make the motion to approve the removal of the loan to the, how am I going for it? To approve the removal of the obligation
As a loan.
to the Park and Rec.
That's,
You'll make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second it.
Okay.
Are we all in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Okay, now, oh, Frank, I'm sorry.
Frank Schimmer, 1030 Allentown Road. I'm happy to see you came to your senses on one item. But I really got a problem. We got $950,000 in a general fund and a reserve fund. Is that taxpayers' money?
Yes.
Okay. Pennridge is asking for, I don't know, $2,500.
Yes, 2,500.
We cannot give that to them out of our taxpayers' money, and we got taxpayers there. And as far as Holiday House goes, don't sit there being holier than thou
Thank you, Frank. Are there any other comments? Yes.
Suzanne from Romney Road. Regarding the Holiday House pool, I just feel like you don't take into consideration the expense of repairs to that pool. It's almost 50 years old. Our plumbing prices have gone up over the last 50 years. Every year, it gets more and more expensive to do any kind of improvements there. For a service call, they charged us $900 to take a clog out, where maybe 5 years ago, maybe it was $500. So, our expenses are going up, and we're not getting any more money from you guys. And, we're working on getting membership higher at that pool, but until we can double our membership, we need the help from the borough and from the township. And I just think it's so unfair, because it's a township pool. We have residents that come to our pool. We have residents from other towns that come to our pool. And I just feel like you're cutting your nose off in spite of your face if you're not going to support our local community pool.
I agree with you, Suzanne. It is our community pool. It's for everyone's use, and I feel the same way. I'm just letting everyone have their say, but I do feel the same way. We've put a lot of work, sweat equity into that pool. Frank has too, for years. And over the last couple of years, you've heard me up here every month talking about how we put in bocce ball and ping pong and cornhole toss, and we've redone the bathrooms. We've did the snack bar. We've done so many different things to that pool to bring it up to where it's breaking even. And now to say that we don't have that the township doesn't want to support it as much just kind of bothers me. But that's my opinion. Everyone up here has their own opinion. But I just think there's other ways we can get money out of. There's other ways we can get money out of this township other than just cutting out the services that are there and the community activities that are there for the township people.
I will add,
Yeah.
okay, I will add that I have been always in support of the pool, but I've also stated, Jim, when you were elected, that we needed to find a way to fund the pool on its own. Now, I know that's very difficult. And I do realize, we went back round and round about this a few years ago, where I sided with Jeff, and we did continue to fund. Originally, that money was, the $10,000 was supposed to be used for capital improvements, okay? And we were gonna find ways to self-fund the pool. Selling the house off was one of them, suggestion made. The other one that comes to my mind that I believe, and it's not, it was left on the table, was a lot of money for the sewer easement that the authority left that developer get away with. You probably left $35,000, $40,000 on the table that could have been, I believe, gotten towards income for the Holiday House pool. But that's a decision made by the authority. I'm not on the authority, only Jim is, and two other members, yourself included. So, when you go forward looking for ways to make money, I think you have to keep everything in mind from both sides. It's not that we don't want to help fund the pool or support the pool. It's how much money do you allocate to it. And I do know, without the help that has been put involved in this pool in the last 2 years, it would fail. And that means Jim, and you, and a bunch of other volunteers have done a tremendous amount. So, I think we do need to look at that. I'm not willing to just exit off the pool. But after looking at what the other townships contribute to the Pennridge Community Center, Hilltown's 4 times the size of us, and they're giving a lot less money than we are. So you have to think about that as well. And from my perspective, I want to fund our park before I fund outside entities. So where we go from that, you know, we're at a crossroad here.
The other issue we deal with is the revenue is off, has been for the last 2 years. So that means there's less money coming in to be able to cover all that. And, you know, we can't control, I know people volunteer and they do their best, but we can't control all the activities around that pool. And we probably have, how many, 40 people from the township that are members?
How many?
I mean, I don't know.
We have
60, I think there was, 65?
maybe 2 years ago.
Okay.
The membership is up, the number of daily rentals is way up, of people coming in for the day.
Okay.
And just, I mean, it's a lot more coming in. I think Suzanne can attest to that too.
All right.
Okay, Mr. Rose.
Oh, yeah, Paul Reisner, Lawn Avenue. The survey that you folks did in 2017 said the majority of the people that were in the survey
Yep.
want to keep the pool.
I know, it was 79%.
So, I mean, why did we pay for a survey? You know, if we're going to get the public to give us an answer, sending it out, we should be supporting it,
I agree.
so.
Thank you. Okay, so for now, do we need more discussion on the community center donation, or do you want to take a vote that we give them money or not?
I'm not willing to give them $2,500.
So do we need to have further discussion on if we're going to give them anything?
From my perspective right now, I would be willing to give them $1,500.
At the most.
Okay. I guess if I have two of you willing to say that, then I guess we'll have to make a motion for 1,500.
I would make that motion.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
I have to vote nay. I think 2,500 is appropriate, so I vote nay on that. But I appreciate your opinions.
Okay.
All right, the zoning hearing board vacancy.
Yes, at last month's meeting, we tabled it, whether or not you wanted to put out an advertisement, or if you wanted to ask the alternates if they wanted to serve as a full-time member. I didn't know if the board had a chance to think about it, or what you would like to do.
I have thought that, and I think that we should ask one of our alternate members to be full-time.
If we don't get any there, then.
If we don't.
Do you have input from the existing committee? Do they?
No, I asked you guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Could, I would say, why don't you ask them who they would feel comfortable with first?
One of the two alternates, they should have the first
Yeah.
shot at it. If they don't want it, then we'll
We're
put
three
it out.
alternates, so
Yeah.
if we want, that would be interesting.
Do you have any other old business?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
And I brought it up when Tony brought it up. I think it's probably in the minutes for the past 3 or 4 years that I've questioned and mentioned the parking lot out front. And I have wanted to get that repaid. I think we should do that just because it's needed, and it's our parking lot for the township, which these folks come to our public meetings. And it has been neglected for a long time.
I think it's more than just the folks that come to our meetings. It's everybody that comes in here every day to work with the
Absolutely.
township. And that's the first thing they see when they pull in is potholes and torn up blacktop.
And
I agree with you. I think we need to give that.
I would like to challenge, would like to ask Greg to get an estimate and then come back to us next month with what it would cost to do it and some ideas of how we pay for it, whether we take the money out of reserves, whether we do something else. A couple suggestions.
Already asked you for an estimate.
Okay. All right. That's my suggestion, that's my old business. And the other thing was the PennDOT update. Of course, Finland Road is being activated, and from what we're told, next year, Cat Hill Road should see something done with it. The other thing that most people are aware of already is in 2019, they're going to be redoing 309 from 9-mile stretch of 309 from down Montgomeryville all the way up to Quakertown. So get ready for that construction to be from Montgomeryville to Quakertown. That's what we were told.
Thank you.
309.
Seeing is believing.
Seeing is believing, yes.
I thought it was a term.
No, that's a different project. That's much bigger. That's the only thing I have.
Okay. I'm sorry, I did have one other thing for old business, which I forgot to mention. I was invited to a meeting earlier, about 3 weeks ago, for the PFOA contamination on that originated from the Berge tire fire. In attendance were about 7 families that live on Old Bethlehem Pike around Tabor Road, which is a real hot spot. Myself, let's see, there was Brian Fitzpatrick was there, and Garrett Glavnik, who's the supervisor in East Rockhill. The residents invited Brian in to talk about, or to tell him what was going on, because Brian has been looking into issues down at the Navy base where they also had the same type of contamination. He was unaware that the trucks down there came up and put out this fire, and it's the exact same kind of spill that they have all around the air base down there. So he's trying to combine those two efforts together now and have people from up here join a committee that would be looking into this from a bigger perspective. And he's going to start going out and see if there were other, he's going to have his staff go out and look and see if there were other incidences where these trucks were sent out to just put out a specific fire using the phone. Okay, so there wasn't a lot that came out of the meeting, just a lot of fact-finding for him. And then the residents are supposed to put together a few people that could join the committee, and I'm waiting to hear back from the one resident that took the lead on it. So that's all I have on that. Okay.
Very good.
All right.
Thanks for doing that.
Sure. New business. Any new business?
No new business right now?
I have none.
Okay. Public comment. We have 2.5 minutes per person for public comment. Greg will be doing the timing, and show me some hands. Yes.
My name is Shirley Mann. I live on Ridge Hill Road, almost directly across from the proposed compressor stations. Something I don't understand. If we want to make improvements to our property, it's like pulling teeth to get approval from you peoples. But a compressor station might be able to waltz right in, and a compressor station is not an improvement. There's something wrong with that picture. I have two main concerns. I have a lot of concerns, but two main ones. And one of them is the toxic pollutants that would be emitted from that compressor station. I have a booklet, which most people do, from the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. And in there it says that they would be emitting pollutants. We have children living in that area. What happens to them when they keep breathing these pollutants in year after year? What happens to their health? And then we have older people like me who are more susceptible to unfavorable conditions. We take our cars to the garage for an inspection, and it has to have an emissions test because we're not supposed to pollute the air. And then a compressor station might go in there, which pollutes the air and has authority to do it. My second one is safety. In early September of this year, there was a gas pipeline explosion in western Pennsylvania. It was on the TV news. Then on September 12th, there were 2 earthquakes in Berks County, which isn't that far from us. And we know what an earthquake would do to a pipeline. Then on September 13th, we had that giant pipeline explosion in Massachusetts, where 80 homes were destroyed, many were injured, 1 death. And the Columbia Gas Company, as of yet, does not know the cause. Those were just the first 13 days of September. 20 years ago, there was a gas leak in our area, and that was from the little compressor station that's already there. My husband and I were having supper. Knock comes at the door, he answered, my husband answered it. They said, leave your house immediately. Don't use your telephone, don't start your vehicles, get out of your house. So you have to walk. So we walked to a neighbor, and eventually we were lucky. We got back in our home that night, it was okay, we got the all clear. Then last year in August, there was that deafening noise from the work they were doing over there at that station. It was around the clock for 24 to 48 hours. It was so loud, it didn't stop, that the neighbors from a mile away heard it.
Ma'am, you need to wrap up now. You've had,
Okay,
Yeah.
Ella Harvick is sitting here, she lives on Catch Basin Road, she has given me her time. Now, Mr. Miller, Mr. Kaiser, and Mr. Duvall, the approval of this compressor station is happening on your watch. We voted you into office to do what is good for West Rockhill Township. And this compressor station is not a good thing for West Rockhill Township. Let Adelphia Gateway fund an alternative site where people are not affected by a compressor station. On August 24th, I called Ivana Wolf, who said Trump, Ivana Wolf, who was from Adelphia. I left a voicemail on her telephone that I would love to have a public meeting here. And it seems all they want to do is meet individually. It's like divide and conquer. I have two questions. One is a two-part. Are any of you supervisors, or Greg Lippincott, are you in contact with Adelphia or the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission? Are you in contact with any of those peoples?
Yes.
yes,
Are you getting anywhere?
well,
I think we've already made, I think, significant progress. They were planning a 50-foot high compressor station. We had a series of meetings with them in which we impressed upon them the nature of the community, the rural atmosphere on Rich Hill Road, and they've reduced the height of their building to 35 feet. And I know this is your public comment, I don't mean to take your time on this, but we have the power at the local government level that's given to us by the state and the federal government. We don't have all the power. We have what they give us. And when it comes to gas pipeline projects at the federal level, FERC projects, we cannot enforce any of our ordinances against them. Now, we've gotten party status in front of FERC. We constantly monitor the dockets to see what's been filed and what their plans are, and so that we can respond and let FERC know if we disagree with what they're saying. We're doing everything that we're allowed to do as a local government in a situation like this. But we don't have the ability to enforce zoning or any other regulations against them. That is clear, set law. So when you come in here and you blame these three gentlemen who work for about 50 cents an hour on
And health insurance.
on this compressor station, you're wrong.
I don't care about the picture of it. That is not important to me. A smokestack or whatever you called it. If it's a little higher, that's a little higher. That isn't what bothers me. It's the pollutants and the safety factors, not the picture of the station itself. To me, that is not important. I'm sorry, but it isn't. One more question. I have a letter here which most of us got from Craig Stad, our representative. I just want to read two sentences from it. It says the fees paid by natural gas producers over the past 7 years total more than $1.4 billion. This year's payout is about $36 million higher than last year due to an increase in the number of wells and higher gas prices. I'm knowing that he's talking about big money with these natural gas companies. They could probably buy all of West Rockhill Township. Would West Rockhill Township receive taxes from them or any monies?
No.
Nothing at all. That's not what we were told. Okay, thank you for listening to me.
yes. You state your name.
Christine Shelley on Wayland Road off of Rich Hill. So you're doing everything that you can, and I would like to know if an ordinance, I know that you say that we cannot enforce ordinances, but has an ordinance been written? because once they are granted approval, you cannot go back and undo time and write an ordinance at that point in time, once they've been granted approval. However, you do have power to have an ordinance written before approval, which would set the standards for which whether or not they have to live by it or not is another issue. The fact is that we have the power now to have an ordinance written. Once they get approval, that's out the window. We don't have that option anymore. We should have it done now. I asked last month if there would be one written. 2 months ago, I was told that, what can we do? You said you were doing everything. Last month, I asked if we could have an ordinance written. Is there any effort being made to write an ordinance to set some kind of standard for the parameters that they would need to follow? Whether or not that happens is irrelevant to the argument of having the ordinance written, having it done on paper, that we are doing what we can do.
2 months ago, when you raised the issue, you mentioned that Durham Township, another client of our law firm, had adopted a compressor ordinance. I went back and took a look at that ordinance, and we drafted an ordinance for West Rockhill. I looked at it, I talked to Greg Lippincott about it. It's not my recommendation to the township that you adopt an ordinance like that. Perhaps you think it's irrelevant whether or not we can enforce the provisions of the ordinance, but I struggle to find a point in just passing legislation that you can't enforce against the only people it would affect.
I think that by discounting and saying that we were not able to enforce that, I don't think that that's been either proven or disproven at this point.
Yes, it has. From a legal standpoint,
there are other places that have shown that you write an ordinance and it gives you footing to fight your fight.
The most significant thing we can do to get footing to fight our fight is to become a party in front of the Federal Regulatory Commission, because FERC holds Adelphia responsible for comments that we make. And that was the single most significant thing we could do, and we did that immediately when this situation arose. We constantly monitor those documents. We respond. They're aware that we read every single thing that they submit. We question everything that they submit. That's far more effective than passing an ordinance that cannot be enforced against the entity. So I know that you think it's an important thing. It is my legal opinion that what you're suggesting will not be as effective as what we're doing.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Other comments?
We have
Excuse me, sir.
Tom
You were
Kuchay.
not next. Please sit down.
No, let him go.
No, you.
Let him go.
He raised his.
Let him go.
Okay, no, so did he, and he had his hand up
Okay,
first.
we're not- you're not arguing.
I'm just
Tom
taking
Kuchay,
people in order.
Ridge Hill Road. I have here some comments that is not case from Philadelphia wrote to FERC and about all the lies that he's feeding them and feeding you people. And also, he thinks he can use our properties as their safety buffers, indicating that our residences, including mine, is 500 feet away when my property is actually right on the line where this compressor station is going to be built. Now, is my 8-acre field in between my residence and this compressor station, is that going to be used as their buffer and a wasteland for their pollutants? Do I have the right to use that land as I please? Why is this guy insinuating that because my residence is 500 feet away, why is he insinuating that he's allowed to use my land as his buffer?
Have we seen this letter before?
Yes.
No.
We have?
Yes.
Oh,
No, we just got it.
No, this we just got from FERC. You had other letters.
Perhaps you got it for FERC, but I got, it was filed in the dockets on Monday.
Oh, right,
We reviewed it then,
Okay.
and their
As
attorney.
you can
Okay.
see, when you read that letter, this guy is either a total idiot, or he thinks we are all a bunch of idiots, or he's a total nut that has to be stopped. This guy is using our properties on three sides, me to the east, Mrs. Mann to the south, and other property to the southwest that are even closer than the 500 feet my house is in. There, Mrs. Mann is only 300 feet from this thing. He's using our properties as his buffer that he's requiring to have. And according to the pipeline hazard commission or whatever, he states in there, and he's lying when he said that there are no federal regulations for this. He states in there that they cannot use properties that they do not own as a buffer for their compressors. And that law, you can look it up. It's in there. Now, as far as the big concession about the height, all they did was they changed the roof line from an A roof to a semi-flat roof. They made the 35-foot height regulation, and they extended that building another 2,000 square feet, which means they can accommodate 2 more compressor stations. And that is your big concession to them.
Okay,
And-
we'll get back to you on this, okay?
Well, you guys better, because they're using you as their scapegoats. And when that happens, this township will be bankrupt. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
First of all, I think that...
Name and address, please.
My name's Bob Gerhardt, and I live at 1175 Richhill Road, and I'm in Richland Township.
Oh.
And I'll be able to look in my feed, walk out to my field, and there it is.
Okay.
I can sit on my back porch, and there it is. The noise, the pollutant, all this stuff. But I wanted to get one thing on first. This is the public. This is what you gotta listen to. Don't give anybody 2.5 minutes to talk. That's a bunch of junk.
Sir, actually, they don't have to take any
Well,
public
that's what they
comment from
said.
people who live outside
Now,
the township.
my second question, I am entirely against this thing because we have about 15 homes on the whole road and they want to come in and screw it up. And then on top of that, the second issue is H&K. The big development that's going in on, or they want to propose. And I have talked to that gentleman, and he said, well, we kind of just rubber stamp whatever Richland Township does.
I'm sorry, you're getting out of line, sir.
No, I'm not. I'm just letting
Sir,
you know what I
I'm
was
asking
told.
you, your time is up, and I'm
Yeah,
asking you to
see,
sit
that's
down.
how you restrict people
No,
from talking.
No, we are working our issues, but we're not gonna have people, let's keep this under control, okay?
I was under control.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, hi, I'm Rose Merrigan,
Yes.
and I live at 2950
Hi.
Rich Hill Road. Hi. Okay, so I agree with Mr. Gerhardt. We live not far from him, only we're in West Rockhill, because that's like an epicenter, as you know, of townships.
Right.
That zip codes. And yes, that will, the emissions coming from this lovely compressor station.
Saw it, yes.
Okay, it's like a Target store, that's how big it is, okay? And it has smokestacks coming out the top, as you saw, okay? And there is no way in H that anybody in that surrounding community, including down, all the way down to Tollgate Road, Brayton Gardens, actually, he was right, most of the people that are gonna be affected, the larger percentage will be in Richland because of the developments on Tollgate Road. They are directly downwind of these emissions. And I don't know if you noticed the 2 gigantic venting fans. This thing will be operating 24/7. We met privately with Adelphia, that not our idea, we wanted the neighbors to come. That was Adelphia's idea, because Shirley was right, they want to keep it constricted and, you know, knit the web in the background,
Correct.
so to speak. Okay, so, and we just got that other letter, all right, so he's totally right, I'm with you on that. that emissions is gonna affect everybody, a great number of people in that area, including Richland. And the other thing is that this Mr. Valori, the Vice President of Adelphia, he is conniving. They even lied. You told me yourself that they had met with you privately, Adelphia, back in the summer, and took words that I had a private conversation with Ivana Wolf, the project manager, or community liaison, I should say, and took my words out of context about, I said I was concerned about safety. I was not concerned about aesthetic shrubbery and flowers and so forth. How are a couple trees, few trees, gonna stop this thing from blowing this stuff all over the community? Okay, see those they're big smokestacks there. 24/7, how is that going, a few trees going to stop, okay? And then they came again at the end of the summer, August 24th, and their big contribution was that they painted the thing barn red. That was their big, concession, that they painted a barn red. Hey, it is a pretty color, but you know what it looks like? A gigantic Target store warehouse with smokestacks, ready to kill anybody who lives within a 5-mile proximity, including, I don't know, maybe some of you people here tonight, I don't know. But this thing's gonna be running 24/7, people, 24/7 in your backyard.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Judy Benninger, Massey Road. I want to know, do you know if our township has hazard mitigation planning pamphlet for practicing for land use planning and development? Do you have a pamphlet? It's put out by FEMA, I believe. I think it'd be in your best interest to get it, because it's for people it's for townships particularly, for people who have pipelines in their townships. I think they put it out for.
Could you repeat that name of that
It's
again, please?
well, that too, PHMSA. It's called PHMSA, but this one I looked up it's called Hazard Mitigation Planning Pamphlet for Practicing for Land Use Planning and Development. And I believe it was put out by FEMA. It's for townships that have pipelines in them, and now in our case, gas compressor stations. And do we have any ordinances that have to do with zoning, especially for pipelines and gas compressor stations? Because I couldn't find one. Could you let me know what the number of the ordinance is? So I can look it up.
You can
Do you
work
have
with
one?
Greg if we have anything. And you can also let Greg know the name of or Judy, the exact name for that pamphlet.
I will.
It's hazard mitigation planning,
Oh, okay.
practices for land use planning and development in the
It's
pipeline.
put out by FEMA. But do we have ordinances, did you say, for our pipelines? Do we have ordinances?
We have ordinances for utilities, generally for utilities.
Okay. Did you ever hear of a consolation zoning ordinance? I believe it is by the U.S. Department of Transportation. Consultation zoning ordinance requires property developers to consult with pipeline operators when proposing construction within a specified distance from transmission pipelines. And these specified distance are from the township. So in other words, in this zoning ordinance that the township should have, you can, if you get that booklet and read up on that, you can make zoning ordinances.
Well, we'll get a copy of it and take a look,
for that.
okay?
One more thing, I'm glad that these people on Finland Road got taken care of, but when I hear that somebody said something at one meeting and at the next meeting it's taken care of, I feel like, I don't know, I don't see anything that's been done. I know you say you've been working on it, but I don't see anything.
It's two different issues, ma'am, and they're very, very different.
Yeah, they are different.
Yeah, very
They are
different.
different,
Very
so,
different, yes,
yeah,
yes.
because one's easy, I would say easy.
Well,
Was well dealt with.
Right.
And this one, you never dealt with it probably before.
That's not, well, never before, correct.
Right, so that's why I think we need ordinances. We need ordinances.
We'll look at the pamphlet.
You know, maybe not the exact one you were talking about, but we do need ordinances for pipelines and compressor stations.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
It's just
Other
as
comments?
dangerous as the
It's just as dangerous, yeah, because of the fumes. Yeah.
All right, seeing no other comments, I will adjourn the meeting. I'm sorry, go ahead.
My name is Jeremy Cooper, I live on Catch Basin Road.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much where we all live. I moved there about 2.5 years ago to give my children a better life. We lived in Percy originally, wanted to move to a better area. To find out now that something like this is gonna be put in, which is gonna jeopardize, and not, you know, who's gonna wanna buy, if I wanted to sell, to again, get into another better place, who's gonna wanna buy it? So property, family, you know, the camaraderie, you know, the new friends that I've made is gonna be destroyed by, you know, a company who's just gonna run in and do whatever they want. I just think it's unfair, you know, that they're gonna be allowed to do this and just traipse in. It just seems very unfair.
Thank you for your comments.
It is.
Yep. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Heather Kubler. I live on Catch Basin Road. So my question is, what are you doing? You take our comments and you're very polite and you say thank you. But what exactly are you doing to protect us and to protect our families and to stop this? What actions have you taken besides listening to us and empathizing and sympathizing?
Well, our actions all go through our attorney, okay? Because the attorney is the one that has the knowledge and
Sure.
the...
And what is your attorney doing?
I think when the first comment, I went through the list of things that we've been doing. We've been
So you
talking.
allow them to build, but only make it a 35
Do you want me to answer the question, or do
I
you
would
want to
love it.
interrupt me?
Please.
If you have more to say, please say it.
I
This
sure
is your
will after
public
I-
comment.
After I listen to your comment, please.
We have entered our appearance and intervened in the FERC application that the pipeline is currently trying to get through. We comment on nearly every pleading and position that they put on the docket in that application. We talk to Adelphia probably 2 or 3 times a week. Greg goes to the property, your township manager. We've had meetings with FERC. We've had our engineer review the application. We've researched the feasibility of local regulations to affect this application and have advised the board accordingly.
So have you told Adelphia, no, we don't want you here? Or are you just saying, well, what can we do to make it okay? I'm curious, I mean, what have you done to say, we don't want this?
You've asked a question, I've answered it. If you have public comment, please make it.
You have a lousy answer. Okay.
Thank you. Are there any other comments?
May I just say, is that information that you say that you do available to look at? Because it would give me reassurance that I see something, I see it in front of me.
Some of it is, some of it isn't. Some of it is phone calls and meetings, which there's no physical document that comes out of the meetings, and some of it is.
Yeah,
So I can send you what is.
Or I could come down and pick it up here?
I don't work out of this office, I work out of another
Oh,
office.
so you don't leave your paperwork here with their supervisors?
She could provide something for you, Mrs. Banninger.
That'd be good.
Here, of what the steps have been.
Oh, that'd be
the township
great, I would
take.
appreciate that, because it makes me feel better if I see something that,
Okay.
what was done, thank you. I
Thank you.
appreciate, thank you.
You got it.
Another question.
Yes, ma'am.
Rose Morgan, Rich Hill Road, if I can forget. I have one quick question. That letter that Tom distributed, that Mr. Valori, Vice President of Adelphia Gateway, had responded to our FERC comment, e-comment, which anybody can go on, their website, as you know. And he had mentioned, he does some inaccurate commenting himself. And he said that compressor stations should go on industrial. The reason they chose that site was that's an industrial use land. But according to what we were told, that was a residential conservation area over there.
Yeah, those are
So that's
two
a
slightly
question
different
mark
concepts,
for us.
Mrs. Cachet. You're both right. It is used for industrial purposes because they already have the compressor, the one compressor.
Some meter stations, yeah.
Right, there. but it's zoned for rural agriculture.
It said residential conservation, I was told.
RC,
RC.
so it's zoned RC, which is residential.
Which
So
totally seems to me in conflict with what this,
it's
monstrosity
sometimes,
warehouse.
sometimes there's uses on property that existed either because they're not subject to zoning or because they existed before zoning that are not necessarily compatible with the underlying zoning district. This is one of those cases.
Well,
I have another comment.
Thank you.
If you're referring to non-conforming use, that doesn't allow any other, you might not be able to get their actual equipment out of there that they have now and facility, but they are not allowed to build anything else on non-conforming use.
If we go back to what I said in the beginning, this is a FERC project, so we can't, that's what the zoning ordinance says, we can't enforce the zoning ordinance against.
Well, actually, according to this nut that wrote this letter, the government doesn't have any regulations. You claim you don't have any regulations. This guy thinks he has immunity to do whatever thing he wants. And I thought we had constitutional rights to our property and our safety. And I don't see it here. I don't see it at all.
Quality of life as well.
And if it's true that there are no federal regulations, it's only because the federal government is leaving that up to local governments to institute zoning regulations.
I think our attorney's got.
There is going to be 4 of them, okay, and he's purposely lying on that to influence FERC.
Kimberly-Buzz.
Thinking that everybody else is an idiot and they don't know. So he's purposely lying on that. He's indicating that it's only going to be 1 compressor. They intend to put 4 right now and room for more later, now that they increase the square footage of the building. This guy is lying, deceiving. He's trying to push this thing through, and and whether you realize it or not, he's implicating you guys.
Okay, all right, thank you. One more, we have another comment?
Kathy Wireback at 1385 Wayland Road. And, you can hear the passion of all my neighbors.
Absolutely.
Right? We just don't know really what we can do. And that's why I guess we're looking at you, our township, to try to help us and guide us on what exactly we can do to try to stop them from, or making it safer for us as a community.
You're the
and
first person
neighborhood.
that asked that question, and there are some things that you can do.
Like, should we be calling Fox News? Like, what? We don't know what we
Have you
can do to get
intervened?
this.
Have you intervened in the application in front of FERC? Have you asked for party status? Have you intervened? Because if you haven't, Google how to do that. It's not terribly difficult. Fill out the forms and then file them. And they might argue that you're a little late, but if you do that and then you make some cogent comments, FERC will pay attention to you. What Adelphia has to do is please FERC. And every single comment we've made to FERC, Adelphia said address that, address that, address that, address that. FERC is very, they're not giving Adelphia a free ride in any way, shape, or form. So every single one of the neighbors, the more of you that intervene and do what the township's done, the better it is for your community, the harder of a path that Adelphia has in getting their permit approved by FERC.
Well, I would like to say something.
No, I'm sorry, sir, wait a minute. The other lady's still speaking.
Okay.
So,
That's the single most effective thing that I can think that you can do. Calling Fox News or something like that really isn't, like, I don't see the value in that. Like, there may be people that do. I won't tell you how to run a community level effort. But I think the grassroots organizations that have been affected and having their voice heard have always started with party status.
All right, so the best way for us as a community is for everyone to try to go, for everyone to go on that website.
They will tell you it's untimely, that you were supposed to have done that this summer, but I would still give it a try.
But if we get enough people to all of a sudden file, because there were a lot of people who have been, as you can see, every month, there's more people that come, because there's more people that just thought this was a piece of junk mail and didn't realize what was happening. You know, all of a sudden, there's signs up on Rich Hill Road, stop
That's
the
because-
compressor, to tell people to, you know, to make the community aware. So
That's because we've
that's
been
why.
trying for months and months to
One,
get it
one
out
person,
there.
please, she's speaking right now.
But just, well, what I'm saying is, we need to reach out a little further, and thank you for that.
And if you, when you intervene, like include with it a letter stating all your concerns, because even if Adelphia is successful at stopping your intervention, your letter will still get FERC's attention because it's combined with a pleading. So,
Yeah, like, these are the things that maybe we should get together and give people like the website information. And people are busy, so I think maybe a few of us need to spoon feed people with the exact where to go, what to write, what to do, type of thing. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Are there other comments? Yes, sir.
Yes. FERC has a big conflict of interest. They approve just about everything that comes their way when it comes to energy companies. They are composed of 5 commissioners, and all 5 of them, prior to appointment, had big jobs with energy companies. So if we wait for FERC to do this for us, to turn this down, we'll have that thing. This is something that this township must do.
Sir, I think you just heard from our attorney what needs to be done, and I think if you take that action, you may see some changes. Okay, thank you. Yes,
We
ma'am.
already have, and we haven't
Sir,
seen any
your
changes.
time's up. Ma'am, go ahead.
Is it, do you still have a time to intervene? I thought there was a time limit on intervening.
yeah, I think I raised that as an issue when I was talking to her. They may challenge you on that.
Yeah,
That doesn't
right.
mean that your
Right.
voice won't be heard, that it's not a more effective way of getting your voice heard. If you, like, you know, if you didn't get notice until recently, say that, because that matters.
Mhm.
Okay.
Also, just one more thing, I don't want to be mean, but she had to ask a question to get some kind of output from you. I wish that maybe you could, if you have any more information, we come here, I wish you just speak out without waiting for a question. You know what I'm saying?
I don't remember, like, you might have been in another meeting. I know we met with the Couchets, we've tried to offer them
Yeah.
some ideas. I know that you and I have talked in the back. I don't remember.
I'm just glad that, I just don't withhold any
Mrs.
information.
Banger, I want to say something because it's very important. There's been accusations that we are doing nothing.
I didn't say that.
I know you didn't, but there has been accusations tonight. They will attest, the manager and the solicitor, we, the supervisors, question them constantly, every month, sometimes numerous times a month, on what the status is, what's going on, what can we do? So to sit and say we're doing nothing, and we don't care, is false. It's false. It's outright false. We are trying to do and facilitate as much as we possibly can, because remember something, we live in this township too.
Yeah, I know, and if you people would have lived in our neighborhood, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Wait a minute. The thing
You
is,
can't say that.
No, no.
Yes, I can.
Sir, please. Yes, ma'am.
I just would like to say about the communication thing.
No, I'm sorry, behind you in
Oh,
the
all right,
back.
well, we could use a few emails, so maybe to update
Ma'am,
us
I
about.
was addressing the lady behind you in the
Oh,
back. Thank you.
Um,
Name and address, please.
Christine Shelley, Whalen Road. Yes, we are aware that you are doing things because you did file a motion, and that was huge. And I understand that filing a motion, it's overwhelming. The FERC website is really difficult to navigate. I find I filed a motion to intervene out of time, and the information that they send, a lot of it seems just not right. Like, I got something this week and it's really, I don't have someone to translate it for me. What does all of this mean? You know what I mean? And I think that it's overwhelming for just the average person who's working and trying to raise a family to understand everything. And I think that's why we come to these township meetings, to get more information to help us figure out what to do with FERC and how to make our comments and all of that. And I know that you've intervened, and I think that that's great. I just feel like we just have to keep working through this. And I think an ordinance about the compression station, I've already said that, I just feel like that's really
Thank you.
important.
That is really
Thank you.
important. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Rose on Ridge Hill Road. Why can't we have like a big meeting for the whole township with it? This is a big deal. I mean, this is bigger than even the tot lot and the pool and everything, which I think is a great idea, those two things. But this is a hazard to the community, to the health of the tots in the lot and the people in the pool. I mean, this is a health hazard, folks, you know? There's like gas, methane, even radon, polonium, which are radioactive, by the way. We're gonna be living in our retirement golden years that he worked 50 years for, sitting on top of a mini Chernobyl here, okay? So how would you like that after you worked, he broke his butt 50 years, and now we have to sit on top of that thing and just say, oh, well, you know, at least I called Ivana Wolf, at least I did this and that. I mean, come on, you know? This is a big deal. This is not like your average deal, I get it. It's a quiet neighborhood, but we don't, when you say about getting together, we don't have the numbers. It's not like there's a big place up in Massachusetts in Weymouth where they all got together and they got Senator Warren, Elizabeth Warren and everything to help them out, you know, to do an injunction. But we don't have those kind of numbers. This is small community. And what astounds me is that half of the people don't even know about it. That's why we put the posters up. I got into the front page of 2 newspapers. We've been like clawing our way just to, you know, enlighten people. And nobody, like, it's sort of like, you know, it amazes me that nobody seems to understand the impact of this thing. This is major, folks. I mean, spread the word, anybody else that didn't know about this. Please spread the word.
Thank you. Sir?
Thank you.
You can correct me if I'm wrong too, but if I understand, the line that's in here that they're gonna be using is 50 years old. I mean, it was an old oil line, correct?
Yeah, sorry, sir. Can I have your name?
My name is Jeremy Kuehler, Catch Basin Road. It was originally used for oil, so now they're gonna increase the pressure, they're gonna reverse the flow. I've been a plumber for 23 years. That is not a good combination. Most of the people, you know, that I've talked tonight are in the blast radius of this thing. If this thing went off, we don't even have a chance to get out. Like, there is no option. You know, we're me, my family, the neighbors, we're dead. I mean, that's it. You know, what kind of inspections, things like that? What are they going to do once this thing's in? They're just going to run this thing till it blows up. They don't know.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your comments. All right. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, James from 741 Tower Road. As I listen to all of this, I don't know that much about it. I live on Tower Road. Nate, you had, when the quarry thing was going on, you had tours of the quarry and so on. They're asking for help. Could you possibly get together a time that these people could come and you could help guide them through what they have to do to become a party to this, and kinds of letters they could write? Because some of them are saying they don't know, and it would seem like maybe you can help them by creating a meeting and saying, this is what you can do, and this is how you get party status, and that's all I have to say. I'm sorry.
I thought Mary just did that.
Yeah.
I thought Mary just did that.
No, I'm asking for a common meeting area for you to help people who want help to become. I don't know if that's possible or not.
We'll have to look into that, but thank you.
I just wanted to say one more thing, Rose, on Ridge Hill, regarding what Ms. Strom said. I think that's a good idea about, and I had sort of implicated that or insinuated that in my last comment, that it is supposed to, it would be to the advantage of the community and the townships if we did have a much larger audience here and have a public meeting. And here's the thing, you know, this gentleman back here, he's in Richland, but we're right at ground zero. Here's my house, here's his house. So we are neighbors, okay? And this will affect almost, I would say, a larger percentage of Richland. So I was, in my mind, I'm thinking, why can't we get Mr., I can't think, Stepanoff or whatever, from Richland together and have like a combined meeting from the people down on Tollgate Road and Toll Landing and Brayton Gardens. There's those are nice houses down there. And I don't even think those people know about it. They will be getting all of the fumes coming right down the slope there into their backyards, and they don't even know about it. Okay, I did attend a Ridgeland meeting just to inform them about it, but one person can only do so much. So I think if you can do anything, like people are saying, well, what can you do? What can you do? What did you do? And I think that would be like a foot in the door, like to get in touch with him and say, look, this is affecting your people, it's affecting our people. Why don't we get together for like I don't know, where would you go, to a school or something? Like how they did for the phone, right?
Right.
You said you attended a phone meeting. Why can't we do that for this? This is just as big as the phone as far as health hazards. It's just as big, only this isn't going away. They're not gonna come and spray it down or whatever they're gonna do and purify the water. This is gonna.
It's not going away either, by the way, but go ahead.
Well, and I'm sorry to hear that. I know because I lived in an area near that naval base. But the thing about it is this here thing will be operating 24/7.
Right.
So we're all gonna have the lovely emission. Now, you know, right, we're ground zero at our property line. Okay, they're right, Shirley's right across the street. Okay, so I'm just trying to, you know, speak to what some of these people said. I think it would be good to have it combined.
The staff did reach out to Richland Township and request their participation.
Okay.
And then they.
Well, maybe we should put a little more pressure on them,
Okay.
you
Thank
know?
All right. Is there anything else for this evening? Yes, ma'am.
There are some of us older people that do not have computers. It's just the way it is. And so how do we respond?
Okay. But you can use computers in libraries, you can use computers.
We're not computer illiterate.
Okay,
I mean, we are
You can send
computer
a letter.
illiterate.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry, you can send a letter.
Well,
Yeah,
all right.
letters is the only thing that we know, and I'm not alone. There are other older people in this township.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you. Yes, Frank?
Frank Schemmer, 1030 Allentown Road. You say you've been in contact with Richland Township over this problem?
Correct.
And what's their reaction to it?
They did not want to participate or join into the action.
And more of their people, as I understand the ladies say, could be affected than
Right.
people in West Rockhill.
They don't care.
I don't have those exact numbers, but we asked them to participate with us in our party status.
Because there have been joint sessions between townships before.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And there could be a lot more complaint with Ridge Hill or Richland than here.
We asked.
Okay, all right, thank you, Frank. Are there any other final
It's okay,
comments?
I'll go visit them.
Okay, if there are no other comments, I will now adjourn the meeting.
I'll make a motion.
Do I second? Second, all in favor?
Thank you for your input.
Thank you.
Plenty of ideas.
Hey, like I said at the end of the day,